The Pakistani Air Force's recent airstrike in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, resulting in heavy civilian casualties, has sparked global outrage and condemnation. Human rights groups demand accountability amid widespread devastation, yet Pakistan's government and military remain silent, further damaging their already tarnished reputation. At the United Nations Human Rights Council, India condemned Pakistan's actions, calling it to focus on its internal challenges instead of making baseless statements against India. Take a look.
The strike, carried out around 2 a.m., turned homes into rubble and streets into graveyards. Reports indicate that 30 civilians, including women and children, were killed, with many more injured in the bombardment. Disturbing images from the site showed bodies of children and families scattered in the aftermath. Pakistan's Human Rights Commission has demanded a transparent investigation, calling for accountability and protection of civilians. The civilian deaths have intensified public resentment in the region, which has already witnessed a sharp rise in militant violence in recent years. Yet the silence from Pakistan's military and government is deafening. For Pashtun activists, this silence is not new. It is part of a long pattern where the state inflicts violence on its own ethnic minorities while pretending to fight terror.
When you use, J-17, jet bombers against the houses of innocent civilians, naturally, the women and children are affected, killed or injured. Before even that incident, Pakistan has been using drones for attacking, the Pashtun population in different areas of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, like in North and South Waziristan. Even in settled areas like Mardan, they use the drones to attack civilian population. And most of the cases, innocent women and children and elderly persons are killed and injured.
Despite branding itself as a partner in the global war on terror, Islamabad continues to employ drone strikes and air raids against civilian populations. For years, Pashtun communities in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the former FATA region have been subjected to military operations, surveillance and forced displacement. The recent Tirha Valley strike is not an isolated incident. More than 30 such attacks have been recorded in the past few years, often justified by Pakistan as operations against terrorist hideouts. But the victims have overwhelmingly been civilians, women, men and children with no links to militancy. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa today stands as Pakistan's frontline. In the first 8 months of 2025 alone, the province has reportedly recorded 600 attacks, killing at least 138 civilians and injuring more than 350. Each time Islamabad walks away without accountability, leaving grief-stricken communities to pick up the pieces.
During the so-called war on terror, they killed more than 80,000 Pashtun civilians, not the terrorists, because the TTP and Al-Qaeda, they were given safe passages to Afghanistan to leave those areas, and only innocent people, they were killed. More than 3.5 million Pashtuns were internally displaced by those operations, and Pakistan got more than $33 billion. And that $33 billion was spent on Punjab, not on the Pashtun areas, to rebuild infrastructure which was destroyed by the same military in those areas. So there is a huge frustration among Pashtun populations. They are demonstrating against these attacks because they consider that Pashtuns are considered to be the second-class citizens.
India also took the issue to the international stage. At the 60th session of UN Human Rights Council in Geneva, India's representative Kshitiz Tyagi criticized Pakistan over Tira Valley massacre. Kshitiz Tyagi, councillor at India's permanent mission, accused Islamabad of making baseless and provocative statements against India, while failing to address the human cost of its own military operations.
Instead of coveting our territory, they would do well to vacate the Indian territory under the illegal occupation and focus on rescuing an economy on life support, a polity muzzled by military dominance, and a human rights record stained by persecution. Perhaps once they find time away from exporting terrorism, harboring UN-proscribed terrorists, and bombing their own people.
Beyond the killings, Pakistan's military operations have uprooted entire communities. Over 6 million Pashtuns have been displaced from their homes in recent decades. Thousands remain missing, families torn apart as loved ones vanish into military detention or disappear amid clashes. The Pakistani government insists its actions are aimed at dismantling terrorist outfits like the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. But for the Pashtun population, these operations represent systematic persecution, a campaign of fear designed to crush dissent under the banner of counter-terrorism.